Night over Earth's orbit was calm, quiet, and almost peaceful. Commander Liam Hale sat inside the observation deck of the orbital monitoring station, looking at the blue planet below. He was used to silence. It helped him think, helped him breathe. Space had always felt like home to him, a place where the noise of the world faded and only truth remained. He was finishing routine checks when his console flickered. At first, he thought it was a usual glitch, something normal in space equipment. But then the screen flashed again, brighter, and a strange rhythm filled the room. It was not static, not random. It sounded like a heartbeat. Liam leaned forward, eyes narrowing as he adjusted the frequency. The pulse repeated, steady and gentle, almost like a call for help. He replayed it several times, trying to understand what kind of machine or object could create such a pattern. But the more he listened, the more it felt alive. It made no sense. A heartbeat in space. A human-like rhythm so far from Earth. He ran diagnostics, but nothing changed. The signal remained soft and steady, as if waiting for someone to notice. Moments later, the emergency screen lit up, an alert from the far side of the moon. Something large and unstable was entering detection range. Liam called the control center, reporting the anomaly. The team responded with confusion. There were no scheduled flights or satellites near that area. He pulled up visuals, expecting to see debris or a damaged probe. Instead, he saw a silver glow moving through the darkness, flickering like a dying star. It spun slowly, drifting toward the moon's surface, trailing sparks of light that resembled falling embers. This was no Earth ship. His heart tightened. For years, humanity had waited for a sign of life beyond their world. But now, faced with the possibility, Liam felt more responsible than excited. Whatever was out there was in trouble. The ship, or whatever it was losing stability fast. If it crashed, whatever life it carried might not survive. Without waiting for further instructions, Liam requested immediate launch clearance. The system approved him since he was the highest-ranked commander present. Within minutes, he was racing down the narrow halls toward the rescue shuttle. Inside the shuttle, systems hummed, lights blinked, and engines warmed. Liam strapped himself in and guided the craft into open space, heading straight toward the glowing object. As he approached, he realized it was smaller than he expected, closer in size to an escape pod than a full ship. Its outer shell shimmered like liquid metal, cracked in several places. Bright energy leaked through the fractures like sunlight breaking through glass. The closer he got, the more he felt a strange warmth spreading through his cockpit. It's almost like the pod was radiating gentle heat. He activated the docking clamps. The pod resisted at first, vibrating sharply, but then it finally connected. When the airlock sealed, he grabbed his emergency kit and moved inside. The moment he stepped through, the soft glow filled the air like a quiet dream. The interior looked nothing like human technology. The walls appeared to breathe slow pulses of light moving like waves of calm water. He moved carefully, making sure every step was controlled. The pod was silent except for the rhythmic pulse. The same heartbeat he heard earlier. Then he saw her. A young woman, at least she looked like one, lay on a floating bed of luminous energy. Her hair drifted around her face as if gravity did not touch her. Her skin was pale with faint silver patterns running along her arms, glowing softly with each slow breath she took. Her eyes were closed, but the light around her flickered weakly, showing she was fading. Liam approached slowly, careful not to startle her even though she was unconscious. He checked her vitals using a portable scanner. The readings were strange, not fully readable, but one thing was clear. She was alive, but barely. The heartbeat he heard was hers. The signal was not technology. It was her life calling out into space for help. He whispered softly, even though she could not hear him. "It's okay, you're safe now." When he reached forward to lift her, he felt something gentle push against his mind, a tiny whisper of emotion, fragile and scared. It vanished as quickly as it came. He froze, unsure if it was his imagination or something real. But he continued carefully, supporting her weight. She felt warm, warmer than a human should feel in space. As he carried her back through the airlock to his shuttle, her hand lightly brushed his sleeve. For a moment, the silver lines on her skin glowed brighter, as if reacting to his touch. He strapped her onto the medical bed and secured the cabin. As he piloted the shuttle back toward the orbital station, he kept looking over his shoulder at her. Every few minutes, her breathing changed slightly, as if she was fighting something inside her. He worried she might not make it to the station, increased speed, guiding the shuttle smoothly through the artificial gravity barrier. The station responded with surprise when he returned, carrying an unknown life form. He reported the details calmly, keeping his focus on the woman. A medical team rushed in with scanners and equipment, surrounding her with soft lights. She looked fragile, like a being made of pure energy trapped inside a fading body. Liam stayed close, watching the doctors work, answering every question they asked. For the first time since he found her, her eyes opened. They were unlike any eyes he had ever seen, silver and soft, filled with light that seemed both ancient and gentle. She looked straight at Liam, not at the doctors, not at the machines, but at him, as if she recognized something familiar in him. She tried to speak, but only a faint whisper came out, more like a melody than a word. Her hand lifted weakly toward him, trembling in the air. Liam stepped forward, his instinct guiding him before his mind could react. He took her hand in his, and the silver lines on her skin brightened again. A soft warmth spread between them. She breathed deeper, her chest rising with more strength than before. For a moment, it felt like she was absorbing energy from him, not harming him, but drawing comfort from his presence. "Easy," he said softly. "You're safe. I won't let anything happen to you." A small, fragile smile appeared on her lips. She closed her eyes again, but this time, it was not from weakness. It was a calm rest. The doctors looked confused, but relieved. They had never seen a response like this. Liam stayed by her bedside as they took her to an isolated room designed for unknown life forms. As she rested, the station gathered information from the pod he found. They learned her name from a faint transmission, Arinya. She was the last guardian of a peaceful starborn race. The pod carried fragments of a message, but most of it was damaged. Scientists began working to decode it, but Liam could not shake the feeling that Arinya had come here for a reason far bigger than survival. Liam stood by the observation window, watching the stars. He knew deep inside that the moment he heard her heartbeat in the signal, his life had changed. Earth had changed. The universe had opened its door, and now everything was different. He didn't know who Arinya truly was, where she came from, or why fate brought her into his arms. But he knew one thing. Clearly, he would protect her, no matter what came next, no matter how dangerous the stars became. He would stand by her side, because in her fading light, he saw something more than mystery. He saw trust. He saw hope. And he felt a strange pull, like two worlds moving closer, because they were never meant to be apart. Arinya woke slowly, as if rising from a deep ocean of silence. Soft lights filled the room around her, warm and gentle compared to the darkness she remembered. Her first breath was shaky but peaceful. She blinked several times, trying to understand where she was. The walls were solid, metallic, and strangely quiet. They did not glow like the walls of her own world. They did not move like the living structures she had known. This place felt still, almost too still, like a heart that had stopped beating. She turned her head slightly and saw him, Commander Liam Hale, seated beside her. He had not noticed she was awake yet. His eyes were tired, but he sat straight, watching over her like a guardian. His presence brought a calm she did not expect. She remembered his arms lifting her from the pod, the gentle warmth she had felt when he held her hand. Something about him felt safe, grounding, like a steady flame inside a cold night. Liam noticed her movement and stood up quickly. "You're awake," he said softly. His voice held relief, a kind that surprised her. She tried to sit up, but her body weakened, and she fell back gently. Liam reached forward, supporting her without touching her unless she signaled she needed help, or she appreciated the respect. On her world, touch carried meaning, connection, trust, or fear. Liam seemed to understand that even without knowing her culture, she opened her mouth, trying to form words. Her voice trembled, the sounds thin and unclear. Their languages were different, but she tried to send emotion with her tone so he would understand she was grateful. Liam leaned closer, listening with full attention. She placed her hand lightly on her chest, then pointed at him. "You helped," she whispered. Liam nodded. I couldn't leave you there. We're in danger. She felt something warm spread inside her again. His words were simple, but the sincerity behind them moved her. Her people believed that kindness was one of the strongest energies in the universe. Seeing it here in a human gave her a small sense of hope. The door slid open, and the medical team entered. They looked pleased to see her awake, but cautious about approaching too close. Liam stepped back so they could work, but he remained close enough that Arinya could still see him. She watched the doctors examine her with their devices. Her body reacted with soft pulses of silver light each time they touched her skin. The doctors exchanged surprised glances but remained gentle. One of them spoke softly to Liam. She's stable, but her energy is dropping faster than expected. We don't know how to slow it. Arinya heard the concern. She understood only a few of their words, but she felt the worry in their tones. Her energy fading was not a small issue, it was her life force dimming, a sign her connection to her starseed was weakening. If the light inside her went out completely, she would not survive. Liam's eyebrows tightened with worry. We need to understand what's harming her, the doctor replied. Without knowing her biology, we're guessing. Arinya slowly raised her hand toward Liam again. When he stepped closer, she rested her fingertips lightly on his wrist. Her silver markings brightened, forming small waves of light that traveled up her arm. Liam felt a gentle warmth, like sunlight touching skin after winter. She closed her eyes and focused. She wanted to show him her past, her truth, and maybe help him understand what she needed. A soft glow spread between them, and images formed in Liam's mind, not full memories, but impressions. He saw a world made of soft white light, structures that floated in the air, and people who glowed like lanterns in the night. He saw her people smiling, peaceful, carrying stars in their palms. Then he saw Shadow's large creatures shaped like endless nights spreading across her world, consuming light like a hungry storm. He felt her fear, her sorrow, her desperate escape into the pod. Then it ended. The glow faded, and Arinya opened her eyes, breathless. Liam stared at her in shock. You showed me your world. She nodded weakly. My people, gone. Last. Liam felt a heavy weight in his chest. The last of her kind. The thought shook him more deeply than he expected. His heart tightened with empathy. She had lost everything, her home, her people, her world. Yet she still fought to survive. You're not alone now, he said gently. Earth will help you. I'll help you. Her eyes softened. She felt truth in his voice. Humans, she realized, were not just small creatures living on a blue planet. They had strong hearts, that protected hearts that held courage even when facing the unknown. The doctors left them alone for a moment, giving her time to rest. Liam pulled a chair closer, but didn't sit too close. He wanted her to know she had space. Arinya studied him quietly. Humans looked fragile compared to her people, who were made of living starlight. But Liam looked strong in a different way, not because of power, but because of spirit. She touched her chest lightly and whispered, Arinya. Arinya, Liam repeated, pronouncing it carefully. She pointed at him. Liam. He smiled a little. Yes, Liam. She repeated his name again like she was trying to understand its weight. Liam felt something warm inside him hearing her say it so softly. It made him aware of how close their worlds were beginning to feel. As the hours passed, Arinya slowly learned more words. Liam used simple objects around the room to teach her meanings. Wall, he said, touching the metal surface. Light, he said, pointing at the lamp. Bed, as he gently tapped the edge of her cot. Arinya listened carefully, repeating each word with a soft voice. Her learning speed amazed him. It wasn't only intelligence, it was her way of adjusting to a new world. She was trying to connect, trying to belong even in her pain. But as she learned, her energy dimmed again. The silver patterns on her skin flickered like a candle struggling against wind. Liam called for the doctors again. They brought machines and sensors, trying to measure the drop. But Arinya knew the truth better than any scanner. Her light was weakening because she was far from her starseed source. On her world, every person was connected to a core of light that renewed their strength. Without that connection, she was fading day by day. She wished she could explain fully, but her words were still few. Seeing her weaken hurt Liam in a way he didn't expect. He hated feeling helpless. He was a man used to solving problems, used to stepping forward when others hesitated. But with Arinya, every moment felt fragile, delicate, like holding a star that could collapse if he touched it wrong. He reached out gently, giving her hand a soft squeeze. Her silver markings brightened at once, spreading light through her arm and into her chest. It wasn't strong, but it was something. She breathed deeper, steadier. Liam froze in surprise, not sure what happened. Arinya watched their joined hands and whispered, "You? Give light?"
Liam frowned slightly.
I know I'm not doing anything.
She shook her head and touched his chest lightly with 2 fingers. Heart. Light. He didn't fully understand, but he didn't need to. If his presence helped her, then he would stay as long as she needed. She closed her eyes, resting while still holding his hand. No machines, no medicine had given her as much stability as simple human warmth. Outside the medical bay, Earth's council debated what to do. Some wanted to isolate Arinya. Some wanted to treat her as a scientific discovery. Others feared she might be dangerous. But Liam remained inside, ignoring the politics. His only focus was her night cycle approached, and the station dimmed its lights. Arinya drifted into a calm sleep, her breathing steady for the first time since she arrived. Liam watched her, feeling something shift inside him. Protecting her no longer felt like duty. It felt personal. It felt right. In that quiet room floating above Earth, 2 lives from different worlds had begun to connect, not through power or fear, but through trust. Kindness and a gentle, growing bond, neither fully understood yet. And unknown to them both, danger was already moving closer across the stars. The orbital station moved quietly above Earth, but a heavy tension filled the air. Everyone sensed something strange was coming. Arinya had been stable for 2 days, mostly because Liam stayed close to her. His presence seemed to strengthen her, giving her enough light to breathe and speak. But even as her body rested, her eyes often looked toward the window. Watching the endless stretch of space with worry, she could feel something approaching. Liam noticed her uneasiness. Every time she stared into the dark with tightened eyebrows. He moved closer and asked in a gentle voice, "What's wrong? Do you feel pain?" Arinya shook her head slowly. "Not pain. Shadow." Liam didn't understand at first, but he could see fear in her glowing eyes. She wasn't afraid for herself, she was afraid for Earth. Later that day, alarms rang throughout the station. Red lights flashed across the halls, followed by a sharp announcement. Unidentified energy surge detected near Jupiter's orbit. All officers to command center. Liam felt his pulse rise. He turned toward Arinya, but before he could speak, she whispered, "They come." Her voice shook like thin glass. He didn't want to leave her, but Earth needed him. She gently touched his hand. Her light flickered, forming small waves under her skin. "Go," she said softly. "Protect your world." He hesitated for a moment longer, then nodded. "I'll come back. Stay strong." Arinya tried to smile, but worry made her face pale. Liam rushed down the hall, joining the main crew at the command center. The big screen displayed a map of the solar system. Something large, dark, and shifting was near Jupiter, a moving shadow. The screen struggled to form a clear shape, as if the thing didn't fully exist in normal space. Scientists whispered nervously. "It absorbs light. It changes form. Our scanners can't identify it." Liam felt his stomach drop. Arenya's enemies, void creatures that destroyed her world. The commander of the station looked around the room. "Prepare a defensive fleet. We can't take risks. If that thing moves toward Earth, we intercept immediately." Liam stepped forward. "I'm joining the mission." The commander gave him a sharp look. "You just returned from a rescue operation. You need rest." "I'm the only one here who has seen her memories," Liam said firmly. "I know it's coming. She trusted me. I won't stand down." The room fell silent. Then the commander nodded. "Very well. Take Shuttle 3. You lead the first line." Minutes later, Liam stood inside the shuttle, preparing for launch. His heart was heavy with worry for Arinya. He wanted to keep her safe, but the best way to do that was to protect Earth first. The engines roared as the shuttle shot out of the station, followed by 2 more ships. They raced toward Jupiter, heading straight into the growing shadow. Arinya tried to rest, but her energy trembled like a candle about to go out. She felt Liam's absence like a cold wind. His light had become a gentle support for her, something she had never felt before from any being. Humans were strange, fragile bodies, strong spirits. Liam especially carried a strength she didn't understand yet, but deeply trusted. Her breathing grew shaky, and the silver glow on her skin dimmed. She placed her hand over her chest, feeling the faint beat of her starseed crystal. The connection to her world was too weak here. She feared she would fade before she could warn them fully. Suddenly, she felt a shock through her mind, a ripple of dark energy. The void creature had changed direction, was heading toward the fleet. She had to help them. Moving slowly, she stood up despite the trembling in her legs. Every step felt heavy, like walking through water. She pressed her hand against the wall. The room lights responded to her touch, sensing her energy, flickering softly. She whispered, "Please, show him." Her light reached the station's communication system, sending a soft pulse through the wires. The lights blinked. A hologram activated, showing her a faint view of Liam's shuttle approaching the dark mass. She reached toward the image, wishing he could hear her in deep space. The fleet slowed as they neared the creature. It was enormous, a floating storm of darkness, shifting shapes and changing forms. No clear eyes, no mouth, no body. Just endless shadows swallowing light like hunger made real. Liam felt his throat tighten. "What is that thing?" Sensors screamed warnings. No reflective surface detected. Absorbs energy. Unknown power source. Then the creature moved. It spread like a wave, covering space in thick darkness. The shuttle shook violently. Liam gripped his controls. "Hold formation. Keep your distance." But the shadow extended thin tendrils toward the fleet. One of the smaller ships was touched by the darkness and vanished without explosion, just swallowed, like it had never existed. The crew yelled. Fear filled the air. Liam clenched his jaw. "Fall back. Don't let the shadow touch you." He maneuvered fast, pulling the shuttle away. The creature chased them, growing faster as if recognizing Aranessa's energy on Liam. It sensed the smell of her light. It wanted to destroy anything connected to her. On the station, Arinya felt every movement. Her chest ached with fear. She whispered his name, "Liam. Please be safe." Her light flickered again, weaker than before. Tears of silver gathered in her eyes, sliding down her cheeks like tiny stars falling. She hated that she could not help him directly. Her body was too weak. She was not made for this world, not without her startle. Inside the shuttle, Liam pushed the engines to their limits. His mind raced. The creature wasn't attacking randomly, it was following something. Him, or rather, the faint light Arinya left in him when she touched his heart with her energy. He whispered to himself, "You're looking for her, aren't you?" He needed a plan. The fleet couldn't fight something that swallowed light and matter, but maybe they could distract it. Maybe he could. He opened a channel. "This is Liam Hale. I'm going to lead it away from the fleet. Focus on protecting Earth." The commander shouted back, "Liam, that's suicide. Come back." "No," Liam said, voice steady. "It's following me. I'll pull it away." He cut the channel before they could argue. He turned the shuttle sharply, shooting away from Jupiter, racing toward the far side of the solar system. The shadow followed him like a storm hunting a single spark. The shuttle shook under the pressure, warning alarms screaming. Back at the station, Arinya collapsed to her knees. She felt him drifting farther and farther away. The distance hurt her, dimming her light even faster. "No," she whispered, voice trembling. "Don't go alone." Her heart felt cracked, like a fragile starseed about to break. She pressed her forehead against the cold wall and whispered a soft prayer from her world of prayer for guidance. For strength, for the heart she had just begun to care for. In the shuttle, Liam fought to control the ship. He whispered, "Hold on, Arinya. I'll come back to you. But deep inside, he feared he might not. The creature grew closer, swallowing the last sources of light behind him. The universe ahead looked like a thin line of hope. If he failed, Earth would fall. If he succeeded, he might never return. But he didn't stop. He didn't slow down. Because somewhere behind him, in a quiet room, a girl made of starlight was waiting for him with her fading life in her hands, and he would not let her down. The shuttle shook again as Liam forced it into a hard turn, pulling the dark creature farther from the fleet. He could feel the pressure building around him, the weight of the shadow spreading into the cabin like cold fingers. Every light inside the shuttle flickered. His breathing grew tight, but he didn't slow down. He kept pushing the engines. Racing deeper into the outer solar system, he had one clear thought in his mind. He had to protect Earth, and he had to protect Arinya. Far away, Arinya struggled to stay conscious. Her energy was draining too fast. The distance between her and Liam was stretching thin like a fragile thread. She felt the emptiness inside her chest, her starseed weakening without the warmth of living light. She pressed her hand over the glowing lines on her skin, trying to hold the light together with pure will. Her knees gave out. She fell to the floor, breath shaking, but she refused to rest. She whispered, "Show him the truth." With the last of her strength, she sent a soft pulse of energy through the station's communication system. A small sphere of silver light formed above her, flickering weakly. It showed the memory she wanted Liam to see, the truth about her starseed. The core that kept her alive and could save both their worlds if awakened fully in the shuttle. Liam's screen suddenly flashed white. A hologram appeared in front of him, faint but recognizable. Arinya. Her image glowed softly, her eyes tired but determined. Liam's heart tightened when he saw her face, even though it wasn't really her standing there. The feeling of her presence filled the cabin like warm wind after a storm. "Arinya," he whispered. Her voice came through, thin like a fading echo. "Liam, listen." The hologram raised a trembling hand to her chest. A small, crystal-like glow appeared under her skin. "Starseed. My life. My world's heart." Liam frowned. "Is it dying?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. Far from home. It breaks. But, if awakened, light will rise." The hologram flickered again, growing weaker. Liam felt panic push against his ribs. "How do we awaken it?" "Arinya, tell me." Her eyes softened with sadness. "Must go. Back. To Luminara." He froze. Her destroyed world, the place she escaped from, a place filled with shadows and danger. "How?" he whispered. She closed her eyes for a moment, fighting to stay present. The fracture. Near the moon. It was a gate. A bridge. Still open. Weak. But open. The hologram shook violently. Her voice cracked with effort. "You must come. To me, I will guide you." Then the light disappeared completely. Liam's screen returned to normal, but his heart did not. He sat in silence for a moment, trying to breathe through the storm inside his mind. He looked out the window at the vast darkness around him. The creature was still chasing him, closer than before. He could feel the shuttle straining under the pressure. He whispered, "I'm coming back, Arinya. Just hold on." He turned the shuttle again, aiming directly for the fracture near the moon, the shimmering tear in space that had brought Arinya to Earth. But reaching it meant flying straight into the path of the creature. Liam tightened his grip on the controls. He didn't have time to think. He had to trust instinct. He pushed the engines to their limit, shooting back through the solar system. The creature roared not with sound, but with a massive wave of darkness that shook the entire shuttle. Liam gasped as the lights dimmed around him. He hit emergency switches, forcing the engines to stay alive. "Come on," he whispered. "Don't die on me now." On the station, Arinya lay curled on the floor, her breath shallow, her light faint. She felt Liam's movement, even across the great distance. Every time he turned the shuttle, her markings flickered like they were responding to him. She whispered his name like a prayer. 2 doctors ran into the room when they saw her lying on the floor. "Arinya, can you hear us?" She lifted a weak hand but could not speak. Her eyes glowed faintly, then dimmed again. One of the doctors checked her vitals and shook his head with worry. She's losing energy faster than we can measure. Get Commander Hale on the line, the other said. But when they tried contacting Liam, there was no response. His shuttle was too far, too deep in the shadow's reach. Arenya forced herself to sit up. She grabbed the doctor's sleeve, surprising him. Help. Liam, she whispered. The doctor frowned softly. We want to. But we don't know where he is now. Arenya closed her eyes. A soft tear of silver slid down her cheek. She whispered something in her own language, a word filled with emotion. The doctor couldn't understand it, but it sounded like a name. Or a promise. In deep space, Liam fought to keep the shuttle steady. The creature lunged forward, stretching long shadow-like arms toward him. He dodged quickly, but one tendril brushed the edge of the shuttle. The whole craft shook, alarms blaring. He gritted his teeth. You want her? You're not getting her. Not while I'm alive. Push the engines harder. The fracture near the moon appeared ahead as a faint shimmering crack in space. It looked fragile, like glass bending under pressure. The creature hissed silently, trying to cut him off. Liam forced the shuttle into a dive, racing toward the fracture. The shadow chased him, closing the distance. One wrong move, and he would be swallowed whole, he whispered almost there. The fracture shimmered brighter as he approached. He felt the shuttle being pulled toward it, like gravity shifting direction. The creature tried to block the path, spreading wide like a massive wing. Liam made a final decision. He pulled the shuttle up sharply and hit the manual override. The engines exploded with speed. The shuttle shot through the fracture and everything turned white. For a moment, Liam couldn't see anything. Space didn't look like space. It looked like a swirling tunnel of light and darkness tearing apart and stitching itself together. The shuttle rattled violently. Liam grabbed the controls, trying to keep balance, but the force was overwhelming. Then silence. The shuttle drifted into a strange, broken piece of space. It felt like floating inside a shattered dream. Pieces of land hovered in the air like islands of stone. Rivers of light flowed between them. Everything glowed softly, as if the world was wounded but still alive. Luminara, even in ruins. It was beautiful. Liam took a deep breath. So this was your home. He guided the shuttle slowly forward. The air shimmered around him with soft waves of light. He could feel Arenya's presence more strongly now. The closeness gave him strength, but the creature wasn't gone. It tore through the fracture behind him, entering Luminara with a furious blast. Its shadow form twisted angrily, spreading across the broken world. It grew larger, feeding on the leftover light. Liam whispered Arenya. I hope you can see me. I'm here. Back on the station, Arenya's eyes suddenly opened wide. Light burst from her markings, glowing brighter than before. The doctors stepped back in shock. One of them whispered her energy just spiked. Arenya slowly stood up, her legs shaking but steady. He's there, she whispered. He reached my world. She pressed her palm against the wall. Silver light flowed from her hand into the station's systems. She wasn't only sensing Liam, she was guiding him, connecting to him, strengthening him. In Luminara, the light around Liam grew brighter. He felt warmth spreading through his chest. Arenya was reaching for him. He whispered, I'm coming to find you, Arenya. I'll awaken your starseed. I'll save you. Behind him, the shadow creature spread wider, preparing to attack, and ahead of him, the last light of Luminara waited, between the ruin and the darkness. One human heart and one fading starseed were about to decide the fate of two worlds. Liam stepped out of the shuttle, his boots touching the strange floating ground of Luminara. The air shimmered like warm mist. Every surface glowed with soft silver light, but the glow was faint like a world breathing its last breath. Broken towers floated in the sky, connected by thin strands of light. Rivers of glowing water stretched across open air, falling upward instead of downward. Everything seemed beautiful and sad at the same time. He looked around carefully, his hand steady on the strap of his suit. Arenya, I'm here, he whispered, hoping somehow she could feel him, far away. The shadow creature roared without sound, forming large waves of darkness that rolled across the sky. It spread its massive shape over the ruins, devouring pieces of old light as if feeding on memories. Liam felt its presence like a cold wind behind his back, but ahead of him, he felt warmth. Arenya's warmth. He walked forward, following the soft pull in his chest that guided him like a compass. The ground beneath him changed with every step, from glowing stone to shimmering grass to floating crystal paths. Each step felt like walking on a dream. The deeper he went, the stronger the connection became. Back on the station, Arenya's entire body glowed like a rising star. Her eyes shone silver, her markings brightened, and her breath grew deeper. She stood tall for the first time since she arrived on Earth, her palms glowing with soft waves of energy. The doctors watched in stunned silence. "What is happening to her?" One whispered. "She's connecting to something," another replied. "Something far away." Arenya lifted her face toward the ceiling and whispered, "Liam, you found my home."
Ow.
Her voice was stronger now, filled with hope. She pressed her palm against the wall again, sending more energy through the communication channels. The entire station flickered as if echoing her heartbeat. She didn't care about the alarms or the warnings. All she cared about was reaching him. Liam felt her touch inside his chest, a soft warmth that wrapped around his heart. "I feel you," he whispered. "Don't fade, Arenya." "I'm close." He reached the center of the floating ruins. There, a platform of pure light hovered silently. In the center of it, a tall crystal pillar stood broken at the top, cracked along the sides. It pulsed faintly like a dying star. Liam stepped closer, realizing this must be the heart of Luminar, the main starseed, the place where the energy of her people was born. He touched it gently. A rush of images filled his mind, Arenya, as a child, playing among floating lights. Her people singing in halls made of living energy, soft laughter echoing, bright skies filled with shimmering stars. Then darkness. The shadow creatures arrived, swallowing everything, breaking the starseed, ending her world. Liam's eyes burned with grief. "No wonder you're fading," he whispered. "Your world, your light. Everything was here." A soft sound filled the air. He turned sharply. A faint figure stood at the edge of the platform Arenya. But it wasn't her physical body. It was her projection, her spirit reaching across space to him. Her silver eyes glowed gently, her hair floating as if moved by light instead of wind. She smiled at him, a soft, fragile smile that filled his chest with warmth. "Liam," she whispered. He stepped toward her without thinking. "Arenya, you're here." Her projection flickered but held its shape. "You came. You crossed the stars for me." "For you," he said quietly, "and for Earth. And because I promised I wouldn't leave you alone." Her eyes softened with emotion. "We can save both worlds. But only together," he nodded. "Tell me what to do." She looked toward the broken starseed. "Place your hand where mine would be, but you're not physically here." She shook her head gently. "My spirit is enough. My light is inside you now. When you touch the starseed, your heart will speak for both of us." Liam swallowed deeply. "Will it hurt you?" Her projection stepped forward, reaching her glowing hand toward his chest. He felt warmth even though she wasn't real. "It will save me," she whispered. "If you don't, I will fade soon, and your world will be next." He didn't hesitate. He placed his hand firmly on the broken crystal. At the same moment, her projection placed her hand over his heart. Light exploded outward. Liam gasped as energy surged through him. It felt warm, strong, endless, like the sun had touched his soul. Arenya's light and his human heartbeat intertwined, rising together like two voices becoming one song. The starseed glowed brighter, the cracks filling with silver fire. He felt Arenya's emotions pouring into him, her love for her people, her sorrow for their loss, her fear of being the last, and her fragile hope that she could still save something. He held on to all of it, supporting her with his own strength. Earth memories mixed with her Liam's childhood. The first time he saw the stars, the nights he spent alone in space, the moment he carried her out of the pod, It's the first time she said his name, two hearts becoming one. Then a final pulse of light burst through the starseed. Outside, the shadow creature screamed and recoiled. It shrank backward, its darkness peeling away as if burned by the renewed light. It tried to retreat, tried to cover the sky, but the light kept spreading. Filling every corner of Luminara, the world glowed stronger and stronger, repairing its broken pieces. Floating towers straightened, rivers of light brightened, cracks in the sky stitched themselves back together. The land beneath Liam's feet grew solid, shining with the strength of a reborn world. Arinya's projection shone brightly like a star. Liam, you awakened it. He smiled, breathing deeply. We did it together. But the shadow creature was not yet. It gathered its remaining darkness into one massive form and threw itself at the platform, desperate to destroy the starseed. Liam braced himself. This might be bad. Arinya lifted her hand. Her projection expanded, becoming brighter and larger until she looked like a glowing guardian of light. She stepped between Liam and the shadow. This ends now. Her voice wasn't weak anymore. It carried strength, power, and the light of her entire race. When the creature struck, light burst forward, meeting it head-on. There was no sound, only a blinding flash. The creature's shadow dissolved into pieces, breaking apart like smoke in sunlight. It vanished, leaving nothing behind but calm air. The land grew quiet. Luminara glowed beautifully again, not fully restored, but alive. Arinya's projection faded and then reappeared beside Liam, stronger, clearer, and more real. She placed her hand gently on his arm. Thank you, she whispered. You saved my world. And me. He shook his head. You saved it. I just helped, she smiled warmly. We saved it. Back on the station, Arinya's real body glowed brighter than ever. Her skin shone with pure light. Her breathing steadied. Her heart pulsed with strong energy. The doctors stepped back in awe. Her vitals, everything is rising. She's stabilizing. Arinya opened her eyes, now brighter and fuller than before. I must return to him, she whispered. In Luminara, Liam turned toward the glowing horizon. What happens now? A soft breeze of light touched his face. Arinya stepped closer. You come home with me? For now. Earth and Luminara will learn from each other. Our future begins together. Liam felt the truth of it. Two worlds. One bond. He took her glowing hand. Then let's go home. Her smile was warm as starlight. Together. And under the reborn sky of Luminara, two worlds became connected, not through war or fear, but through courage, trust, and a love that crossed the stars.